Hey guys, wanted to come on here and talk about WrestleMania 37, give you my thoughts and predictions real quickly. It's a two-night event this year, of course. Um, so it's gonna be a little bit of a bigger deal, if you will. Well, I wouldn't say bigger deal, but again, it's gonna be similar to what we had last year. The only difference is we are gonna have a crowd on both nights, and we are going to. Like I said, we are going to have a crowd on both nights, and we are going to have it for two nights. That's what I'm trying to say. And it will be outdoors. It won't be indoors at the PC. It'll be outdoors at Raymond James Stadium. So, yeah, let's talk about that real quickly while we can, shall we? Let's talk about WrestleMania on both nights and try to give you my thoughts real quickly on some of the matches. So night one, I think the match that's going to open up, I would predict would open up, is probably more than likely going to be the New Day against AJ and Omos, or Omos, if you will. Omos, who is basically, his real name is, I'm not going to say it, his name's Jordan, his real name is Jordan. And his Nigerian-born American professional wrestler. Yeah, that will probably give us a clue as to where he might head if things don't pan out the way they would want. But yeah, the New Day, Kofi and Xavier against AJ and Omos for the Raw Tag Team titles. I'm gonna go with possibly the New Day retaining. I mean, I know AJ and Omos would be the most predictable. But I think, honestly, just looking at the fact, and I say this with all due respect, Omos being Nigerian descent, Nigerian-born American, I could probably see them losing this match, so they can move Omos on to associate with somebody else, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm going to go with the New Day on that one. Then number 7, oh, not number 7, but the next match I think we're going to talk about that I think will follow after that will be another tag team match. Will be the tag team turmoil match, which the winner of the match will challenge for the women's tag team titles on the second night at Mania. And we have Lana and Naomi against Dana and Mandy, against the Riot Squad, Ruby and Liv, and Morgan, which is Liv Morgan, Ruby Riot, and Natalya and Tamina. I think, honestly, right now, I would have to say it's going to go to probably Lana and Naomi. I mean, I know they're pushing Natalya and Tamina as being like one of the stronger teams, more like the no BS kind of teams now, but, based on the legacy, you have Paul Heyman talking them up and everything, but I got to go with Lana and Naomi. It fits into the story of Nia Jax and Shayna's issues with Lana. So I think it would work, and, can't think of a better possible stage for Lana to really get her revenge, if you will. So I'm gonna go with Lana and Naomi. Then we have Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon in a steel cage. This one should be good. I'm definitely going to go with Shane McMahon. I'm going to go with that one because I think it's just being set up for that. I think there's going to be a moment to where Shane dives off or gets pushed off the top of the cage and onto the ground, maybe through a table, and that's how he wins, because they have yet to say what kind of a steel cage stipulation it will be. So I'm guessing it's going to be regular steel cage, and if it is, I can see them probably going with, and I just noticed something fell, one of my figures fell. I can probably see them going with with that kind of stipulation, just so Strowman will still look strong even in defeat. So I'm gonna go with Shane McMahon. But yeah, I see a big bump coming off the top of the cage, maybe through a table or something like that. It's gonna help Shane win, or we're gonna get a situation that's similar to like when Paul White, Big Show, debuted, and he's gonna get thrown through the cage, and that's what's gonna help him win. Next up, we have Bad Bunny and Damien Priest against Miz and Morrison. I think Bad Bunny and Damien Priest this is going to be an entertaining match, and I think Bad Bunny might prove us a lot of us wrong about what he can do, even in the limited time he's had. So I'm going with Bad Bunny and Damien Priest, and I think this will lead to dissension between Miz and Morrison, and that's when Morrison will finally just, you know, he'll turn babyface, but basically reveal that, hey, I'm not that stupid that you think I am. That I was just biding my time to see if the real you, the true you, would come out and betray me and all that. So I can see this beginning the dissension and breakup of Miz and Morrison. Next up, we have Cesaro and Seth Rollins, and if you're an ROH purist, this is a dream match on big stage like WrestleMania. So I can see Cesaro winning this match, though, because they're pushing him, and Daniel Bryan's got some creative control and everything, and I think the timing is right. And if there's rumor and speculation that, hey, he might consider leaving and going somewhere more elite in the future, then giving him a win at Mania may kind of sweeten the pot for him to stay. So I'm going to go with Cesaro. Then we have Sasha Banks and Bianca. This is going to be a good match. It's going to be like the match of the night for night one. At least one of them, I would say. Well, not one of them, but I would say the match of the night. Probably the top one for night one. And it's going to be very close. It's like up in the air kind of deal. It's kind of one of those matches where it's up in the air, but I'm going to go with Bianca because I think she's got a lot of momentum. It seems that WWE is really getting behind her. And it really makes sense because now you open the door with, potential new challengers to go after her. Like, everybody's wondering, where's Bayley at? And I think Bayley might play a role in this because it might try to reunite Banks and Bayley. But I think that's what would lead us. I think that's what, but I think honestly that's what we're heading in is Bianca and winning, and I think that's gonna, like I said, open the door for new challengers down the line for her. And then McIntyre and Lashley, which is gonna close out night one. I'm gonna definitely have to say it's a toss-up because I do agree that you should keep the belt on Lashley. It's just too dominant right now, looks too strong, and to take it off him would be a mistake. But I know that on the other side of the coin, they want to give McIntyre the moment that he was denied last year. And if you were to believe anything from behind the scenes perspective, with Lashley and MVP being upset with Vince and everything, then yeah, I think, being how Vince is or looked at as being petty and everything, he might take, them getting in his face or being upset with his decision to break up the Hurt Business as a way of saying, oh, you want to get mad at me? Well, guess what I'm going to do to you? So yeah, it's a toss up. I definitely see the scenario for both reasonings as to both men winning, but I'm gonna go with McIntyre because again, if you have Lashley and MVP from behind the scenes being reported to get in Vince's face, I would say that that's not gonna be good for them in the end. So I gotta go with McIntyre on this one. All right, so night two on April 11th, we're going to start out with the women's tag team title match. I already predicted Lana and Naomi to win the turmoil match, and I'm predicting them to beat Nia and Shayna, and that's kind of solidify and complete that dissension between the two, that being Jax and Jax and Baszler, I should say, kind of like solidify and complete that dissension. And I can see, and like I said, I can see Lana and Naomi winning in this, and by winning, giving Lana that vindication on the biggest stage, of her career, with the biggest victory of her career. So I can see that. So I'm gonna go with Lana and Naomi, who I picked to win the turmoil, to win the tag team titles. Then we got Riddle and Sheamus for the U.S. Championship. This ought to be a good, hard-hitting match, maybe strong style similarly. And it's a toss-up. It's one of those toss-up kind of predictions, but I'm going to go with Riddle. I'm going to have to go with Riddle. I think Sheamus is starting to get into that role. Well, now he's going to have to start putting, he's going to be positioned more to put certain guys over on certain platforms and everything. So I think Riddle's going to win, but it's going to be a stiff matchup. Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn with Logan Paul in Zayn's corner. I think Logan's going to turn on Sami, become let's go babyface, if you will. But with that exception, I definitely see this being a great match. Again, if you're an ROH purist, just like with Cesaro and Seth, this will be a match you will enjoy. And we might get a crazy moment. A lot of people projecting that Owens is going to jump off the pirate ship. Heck, I even had a dream, believe it or not, of watching Mania, and I'm hearing Owens saying, "No, I'm not this one. I'm going to that one. Going to the pirate ship that they have set up." So, already set up in Raymond James Stadium, not the one that's being built by WWE, but the one in Raymond James Stadium. So, so overall, though, I think this is going to be a good match, and I'm going to go with Owens. I'm going to go with Owens squeaking out the win, even after taking a crazy bump if he does. So yeah, but it ought to be good. It ought to be really good, and this is the moment everybody's been waiting for. It's like WrestleMania. These two got to fight, and now they are. So it's going to be good, and I think this is going to be a show stealer for night 2. Then we got the Intercontinental Championship on the line. It's going to be Big E against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight, which is basically a street fight, hardcore wrestling, if you will. This ought to be good, physical. And I definitely see Crews winning, and I see him winning with the help of Omos. Yeah. I see Omos basically costing the match for AJ and him against the New Day. That's why I'm picking the New Day. Omos is then going to turn on AJ because AJ will want to know what happened. And then the next night, I see Omos aligning himself with Crews because they're both of Nigerian descent, and it would make sense. So I'm going to go with Apollo Crews winning this match and walking out the new Intercontinental Champion, which I do agree he should on SmackDown, the following SmackDown, redub, because WCW did this with Lance Storm when he won the U.S. title and all that. He did the Canadian naming of all the Canadian renaming of the titles he won, which worked, got him more heat. This, I think, could work. The same thing, I think, could work for Crews by having him redub the Intercontinental title the Nigerian title. Then we got the Fiend against Randy Orton. Everybody's predicting this to be a squash match. It's being reported it will be a squash match. I would say it's kind of going to lean in that direction, but I'm not going to say it's a total squash. I would say it's 50% squash. I would say it's 75% squash, 25%, even Steven, but majority of it will be squash. So I'm not going to say 100% total squash. I'm saying 75% squash, but I do agree Fiend's going to go over. But then again, WWE could throw us a curveball and have Alexa turn on the Fiend, align herself with Randy, and just prove that it doesn't matter, what Bray does to get himself over or trying to make himself more intimidating, that he's just the same old gullible Bray Wyatt he's always been. So they could do that too. So we'll see what happens. So next match, Asuka against Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. This is a toss-up here because Asuka, I think, needs to keep the title for a little bit longer. Get us that triple threat we've been wanting between Asuka, Rhea, and Charlotte. So, again, it's a toss-up. I could see Rhea winning and thus setting up a matchup with Charlotte down the line. Kind of mirroring what they did last year with the NXT title. But I could see them also mirroring that triple threat they had at the NXT In Your House deal where Io Shirai won the title. So I can see them mirroring that with Asuka, Rhea, and Charlotte, maybe at Extreme Rules or Backlash, wherever the next pay-per-view will be after WrestleMania. So it's a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Asuka. And I think it's because Charlotte's going to show up and either insert herself into the match and make it a triple threat, or she's going to show up, cost Rhea the match, and then we're going to find out, maybe in story, that the reason Charlotte's been gone is because Rhea was in cahoots with the doctor or whatever, or whoever, to keep Charlotte off television to get back at her for upstaging her at Mania last year. We'll see. It's just my opinion, but we'll see. And then the Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. Everybody's saying this ought to be good. A lot of people are saying Daniel's being inserted because he's like the guy that's going to take the pin. I don't know. I mean, Edge and him both have creative control, but this is a Vince call to do this. And it's either to give Edge a safe way to become champion and just continue to build along the legacy and legend of being the ultimate opportunist, and it's also a way of making Roman look strong, even in defeat or even victory. So it's a toss-up here, but I'm going to go with Edge. I have to go with Edge because you're building him up. You give him the Royal Rumble win. I think it only makes sense for him to walk out with the championship. If you give it to Daniel Bryan, then I think what you have to do, honestly, is you got to you got to do something that's going to shock people with this. If you're going to give it to Daniel, then you got to do something that's going to be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And I would think you have to incorporate this association with Otis and Chad, bring them into play, and maybe that's how you give them the championship, and then you establish that, you know, they are the Alpha Academy now, and they're about pro wrestling and everything. So so to me that would be the only way, and maybe throw in Cesaro perhaps, and thus you say, hey, well, the team honor, who knows. But like I said, if you're going to go to Daniel, you got to do it in a way that nobody's going to expect, nobody's going to see coming. But overall, I'm going to go with Edge though. I mean, it is a toss-up for a lot of people, but I'm going to go with Edge. I mean, I do agree keeping it on Roman would be great, but I don't think you need to keep it on Roman if you're planning eventually to get to him and Lesnar, because I think that's what they're planning to do, and I'm thinking that's what's eventually going to get revealed as we get close to SummerSlam. That's the only reason Roman is aligned with Heyman, and he's now being the way he is, and, you know, doing the submissions and all that, is because he wants that one more match with Lesnar. So I don't think you need the title to build to that, but it could make it, but it could add a little bit more intrigue. But to me, I think I'm going to go with Edge, because Edge could be the kind of guy that holds it with his scheduling, could be the guy that holds it, defends it once a month, and then goes from there or something like that. It doesn't have to compete that much. You can defend it once a month, if you will. And I think eventually, if anything, you can have him drop it at maybe Money in the Bank, and that'd be it, or at SummerSlam to somebody else, like a Cesaro, maybe even a Seth Rollins. But overall, though, that's but yeah, I'm gonna go with Edge on this. And overall, though, guys, that's my predictions for WrestleMania week. I do know that they got WrestleMania size, or as they put it, WrestleMania size Smackdown on Friday, and they got a fatal 4-way for the tag titles, I think, if you will. Yeah, fatal 4-way for the tag titles. Okay, and so to me, I'm thinking we're gonna have the Mysterios win that tag team match for the SmackDown tag team titles. That'd be one good way to start it off. And then the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I could see someone like I'm gonna throw a wild card out there, and I'm gonna say Tucker Knight. I'm gonna say, if you want to push, finally, you know, take somebody out of obscurity, which you shouldn't have put him in the first place when you broke up Heavy Machinery, I'm gonna go with Tucker Knight to win the Battle Royal. I am. So that's my thoughts on what's gonna happen on SmackDown. I'll do a takeover stand and deliver one probably later if I do. Don't hold me to that. But right now, that's just my WrestleMania 37 predictions and preview. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. Who do you think will win some of these matches that I put out? Do you agree with some of my speculations of what could happen potentially? And really, that's about it, guys. So till next time, God bless. Take care. Get vaccinated. Stay safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below and in the live chat during the premiere. And I am out. Have a good day.